They told me that I had like a 50% chance of living beyond 5 years, which I took with a grain of salt. What I can tell you about myself is that cancer would have been the last thing you would expect. For me, I was active. I played a college sport.
So during chemo, I could only work out for about half of the time that I did chemo, and then it got really hard.
I thought I had IBS like so many other people that I know of, especially girls that I talked to, girls that I was friends with, would complain about stomach issues all the time. So what I was experiencing, I just thought was normal. Hi, I'm Nicole. I was diagnosed in 2022 with stage 3 colon cancer, and I was 27 at the time. My initial symptoms were very normal. It started with stomach pain and it got progressively worse. Now I've had lots of stomach issues growing up. So for me, it's relatively normal. However, the pain began to increase. And it was almost as if I could point to the spot where I felt the pain, which was my lower GI. It was on my left side, and I knew exactly where I was experiencing the pain. I could point to it when someone asked. And what made me want to go see the doctor was when I was having issues going to the bathroom, and it wasn't consistent. Went to the doctor. We tried everything. I was convinced that it was a blockage, but it wasn't a blockage in the sense that I thought. I thought there was some kind of food blocking the way and that stool softener would help and all these other medications would help. Well, we exhausted the list, my primary care doctor and then I went to the gastro right before they had called. It was a day or two before, and I had dark blood in my stool, which was an indicator that something was going on. And many people can think hemorrhoids or something of the like when there's blood in your stool. But mine was darker blood. I think that's an important distinguisher. I went into my appointment sooner than I thought, and it was a blessing, such a big blessing, because I don't know if it would have been stage 4 by August or what would have happened, but I went in and they immediately got me in for a colonoscopy. Then I woke up from my colonoscopy, everything went well, and I was told that I had a tumor that was indeed the blockage that I suspected. I only had a few millimeters for food to get by. So that's really interesting to me. I never thought that was a possibility for someone like me. But I will say that I had never really focused on my diet. I had always eaten, I still eat sort of normally, kind of somewhat standard American diet, but I have incorporated more vegetables and fruits into my day-to-day. And I think that makes a big difference. More water, just doing a better job at my nutrition, because my nutrition was not good at all before. I really would have benefited from like seeing someone like a nutritionist before I even knew I had cancer. So I would recommend that for anyone who is having any GI issues or stomach issues. Just go talk to someone who's a professional and have them evaluate your diet, because it's actually such a significant part of your lifestyle, what you put into your body. So that was something that I started to focus on after my diagnosis. But it wasn't that simple and straightforward. I want to mention that it was in my sigmoid colon, which is actually a very common location for colon cancer. Because the word cancer had already been thrown around, I think I was just at that point like ready for it. I was like, okay, what's next? If I had been afraid and too shy or not willing to take that appointment that came up early, then I think I would have been in a more difficult position. But I think the timing of things was very helpful, and being faithful and trusting that there is a plan that's greater than yourself. And this is maybe a little bit out of my control. In that way, I was ready for those words. And yes, it's a shock initially. I think my mom was more shocked. She went to the appointment with me because you need someone to drive you home. So she was more shocked, but I think I was ready. My stage 3 colon cancer had spread to 12 lymph nodes, which is a good amount of lymph nodes. So it had spread. And while my surgeon was amazing, I actually do want to mention my surgeon and my gastroenterologist because they were so incredible. My gastro oncologist is at Tufts, and she, the surgeon that did my surgery, her name is Dr. Lillian Chen, and she was so incredible. Specializes in the smaller surgery, trying to think, arthroscopic surgery, and she was still able to get 40, not only fix my colon, right, and take out the tumor and a foot of colon, but also she took out 40 lymph nodes, which is an incredible amount, and as many as she could around the area near my tumor. So I love her so much. She has an incredible bedside manner. My gastroenterologist is actually from my hometown, and she did recommend like the gold standard, which is the surgery and then the chemotherapy part for 6 months. I did a mixture of oxaliplatin and Folfox, and she was very careful with me when my platelets got low, and I highly recommend her because she did such a great job managing that, even though I think that the gold standard of treatment is a tough path. It's not an easy path. But I loved her too. And her name is Dr. Kim Perez. And she is at Dana-Farber, not Tufts. So I was treated at Dana-Farber Chestnut Hill. I think that the chemo part was the hardest part because I wasn't able to eat very healthy. I tried my best to drink healthy drinks, but the oxaliplatin makes your throat feel like a tiny straw. So it was really hard to have anything cold like a smoothie or a fresh pressed drink because it hurt to swallow, but I still did anyway. I was like, I got to get this in. I need the nutrition. But yeah, that part was the hardest part, was navigating that. Also, I was so interested in ways to like game the system and not get the nerve damage and just get the most out of it. So during chemo, I would ice my hands and I would ice my feet. And I personally think it helped me. Like I was able to run a marathon 8 months after treatment. So if I could do that, I think that the icing worked for me. I think it's looked like an entirely different journey on its own. And I think that there are so many things that can be. I didn't have any really lasting effects from the surgery. I feel like the surgery improved my life, but the chemo has had lasting effects on me. Survivorship to me has looked like managing those things that came from chemotherapy and making sure that I'm doing my best job to be a healthier version of myself and think more positively and surround myself with people who care about me and, you know, pour myself into a passion outside of work. And it's looked like reinventing myself, which is fun. And I also would have never had this opportunity to reflect so much if it weren't for experiencing such a life-changing diagnosis and treatment. And I would highly recommend to anyone listening who maybe doesn't have a cancer diagnosis um, to think about this, the check-in that you needed to reevaluate and reflect, even if you haven't gone through cancer, to think about what's important to you, because that's really been top of my mind, is what's important to me. What do I want to get out of the rest of my life, because it's a lot more fragile than I thought. Your health is the most important thing in your life. Love, I would say, is the ultimate language of the universe. However, in order to feel love and give love, we need to, be present. And in a cancer diagnosis, you just have to be present. And it's like your health is everything. There's nothing else that is more important in that moment, because you want to be here. This is my choice in my health, in my body. Like, what do I want to do? And I knew I wanted to continue fighting to live. It was just a whirlwind of emotions all of a sudden, and then realizing, like, I'm so ready to focus on just my health. My scans look great, my blood work looked good, and apparently I'm doing a really good job. It's emotionally tolling to go through chemo. It's tough on your body and your mind. So I'm feeling pretty good. So the next time I'll see her is in a year. I want to encourage healthy habits and preventing such a horrible thing. Even if you do everything right, there's still a possibility that, even if you did everything right, maybe it still didn't work. And we hear that all the time with all the percent, like, what is it? They told me that I had like a 50% chance of living beyond 5 years, which I took with a grain of salt, because there are so many things that go into that calculation. Don't listen, drown out the voices that tell you that there isn't a chance, because there's always a chance. And yeah, I just reframed my whole life to be around my health. Honestly, it helped me so much in my journey. So I want to tell more people, like, it's not that hard. Just grow some of your own vegetables if you want. Try it out. Do something different. Or just buy a salad for lunch. It's as simple as taking a step in the right direction, and you'll start noticing that change multiplies in your life. And I've backtracked on my journey. It's okay to fall short. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to eat bagels for a whole week. Like, it's okay. Like, you can mess up. Think about just being in the present. And maybe you're involved religiously, maybe you're more spiritual and not religious. You could say a prayer, you could just think about something positive. That would be my biggest piece of advice, is to go find your secret place that makes you happy, and spend a little time in that place when you feel overwhelmed.